What if I told you pirates, the supposed madmen of the sea, actually followed one of the most organized rulebooks in history? They weren't just rum-swilling rebels. They had written laws, democratic votes, even injury compensation plans centuries before modern navies. Welcome to My History Bites, where we dig into the shocking, fascinating, and forgotten corners of history. If you love uncovering the real stories behind the legends, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell, because today we're decoding the Pirate Code, the rules you won't believe they followed. Let's hoist the anchor. Chapter 1. The Unexpected Order of the Pirate Ship. When most people picture pirates, they imagine floating chaos, gunpowder, grog, and mutiny. But step aboard a real pirate ship during the Golden Age of Piracy, and you'd find something closer to a floating constitution. Every crew signed what they called Articles of Agreement before setting sail. These weren't vague suggestions, they were legally binding within the pirate world. Every man had to swear by them, sometimes on a Bible, sometimes on crossed pistols. Once signed, the code was nailed to the mast for all to see, a reminder that even thieves lived by their own laws. And those rules covered everything: how loot was shared, when lights had to be put out, and even what counted as mutiny. It was democracy at sea, and for many pirates, ex-sailors who'd been abused by Navy captains, it was the first time in their lives they had a say in how things ran. But the code wasn't just about fairness, it was about survival. Because on a ship full of armed men, chaos could get you killed, and the first step to staying alive was knowing exactly what would happen if you broke the rules. Chapter 2. Shares, Injuries, and Votes. The Pirate Economy. Imagine a world where every worker knew exactly how much they'd earn. No corporate secrets, no hidden bonuses. That's how pirates ran their economy. Most codes, like those of Bartholomew Black Bart Roberts or Henry Morgan, outlined loot distribution down to the last coin. The captain got 2 shares, the quartermaster 1.5, and everyone else 1 share each. If you lost a leg or an arm in battle, you got extra money, sometimes up to 800 pieces of 8, as compensation. In other words, pirates invented workers' insurance 2 centuries before most governments did. Even leadership wasn't permanent. Captains were elected and could be voted out if they made bad calls. If you treated your crew like garbage, they'd simply hold a vote and pick someone else. Try imagining that in the British Navy of 1700, where refusing an order could get you flogged or worse. On a pirate ship, your voice mattered. But that also meant responsibility, and when someone broke the code, justice was swift and brutal. Chapter 3. The Punishments that Kept the Ship Together. The pirate code promised fairness, but mercy was rare. If you cheated your crew, you could be whipped, branded, or marooned on a deserted island with a pistol and 1 bottle of rum. That wasn't movie drama. It was real. Marooning was the pirate's ultimate punishment. It meant total isolation: sun, sand, no water, no hope. Sometimes they'd leave you a musket and 1 shot, for choice. Still, walking the plank? That's pure Hollywood. There's almost no historical record of it ever happening. Pirates didn't waste time on theatrics. They simply got rid of traitors in faster, crueler ways. And yet, this harsh discipline worked. Crews could operate with shocking efficiency, obeying complex maneuvers and coordinated raids across hundreds of ships. Fear kept them loyal, but so did the sense that justice, twisted as it was, applied to everyone equally. Still, some rules were less about survival and more about keeping the peace, and they might surprise you. Chapter 4. The Weirdest Rules You'll Never Believe. Forget the wild parties you see in movies. Most pirate ships were surprisingly strict. The Code of Captain John Phillips, written in 1724, banned gambling on board. No cards, no dice, no coin tosses. Others had curfews, no lights or candles after 8 at night, to prevent accidental fires. Some banned women and boys entirely, calling them a source of quarrels. One ship even forbade bringing personal treasure on board. It all went into a shared chest, divided later according to the rules. Weapons had to be clean and ready for inspection. No sailor could go ashore without permission, or he'd lose his share of plunder. And in some crews, dueling was banned completely. If two pirates had a dispute, it had to wait until landfall. These weren't party animals, they were professionals. For pirates, order was what allowed chaos to function. And while every ship had its own flavor, there was one thing all codes agreed on. The captain wasn't untouchable. Chapter 5. The captain wasn't the boss. Unlike naval commanders, pirate captains didn't rule by divine right. They ruled by consent. The real power often lay with the quartermaster, the man responsible for discipline, loot, and supplies. He could veto the captain's decisions and even arrest him if the crew agreed. The captain only had full control during battle. Once the fighting stopped, he went back to being just another crewmate. This strange balance of power was the key to the pirates' success. It kept greed, ego, and abuse in check most of the time. This idea of voting, checks and balances, even impeachment, it all existed on pirate ships decades before the American Revolution. Some historians call it seaborne democracy, but here's the thing. Not all pirate codes were the same, and some were never meant to be obeyed forever. Chapter 6. Variations, Myths, and Rumors. Each captain had his own twist on the code. Henry Every's crew, for example, supposedly swore never to surrender alive. Blackbeard, on the other hand, ran a tighter, almost cult-like ship where he alone decided who lived or died. Many codes were destroyed when a ship was captured or when the crew disbanded. That's why only a handful survive today. So, when people talk about the pirate code, they're really talking about many different sets of rules scattered across time and sea. Rumor has it, some crews even used the code to bargain with colonial governors, offering to follow certain rules in exchange for pardons. Others secretly used the same system to govern captured ports in the Caribbean, acting like miniature republics. Whether those stories are true or not, they reveal something fascinating. Pirates weren't rejecting society, they were building their own version of it. But the biggest surprise, some of their ideas sound eerily modern. Chapter 7. Why the Pirate Code Still Matters. It's easy to dismiss pirates as criminals, but their codes showed something deeper. They understood that power needed limits, that fairness, even among thieves, kept people loyal. Long before the word democracy became fashionable, pirates were electing leaders, voting on laws, and ensuring fair wages. They created a world where race, nationality, and class mattered less than courage and competence. Escaped slaves, Irish outcasts, British sailors, and even indigenous crewmen could all earn equal shares under the same flag. Modern historians argue that the pirate code was more than just rules. It was an early social contract, a rebellion not only against kings and navies, but against injustice itself. Maybe that's why these outlaw republics still capture our imagination. They remind us that even in lawlessness, humans crave fairness. So next time you picture pirates, don't just think of cutlasses and treasure maps. Think of a floating democracy, one that punished betrayal, rewarded loyalty, and kept its chaos under control through written law. The pirate code wasn't fantasy. It was a survival strategy, a set of rules that kept some of the most dangerous men on Earth from destroying each other before they ever saw battle. And maybe that's the real lesson buried under all the myths. Even outlaws need order, and even chaos has its code. If you enjoyed sailing through the darker side of history, drop a like and tell us in the comments which pirate rule shocked you most. And don't forget to subscribe to My History Bites for more unbelievable stories from the past. Because sometimes, truth really is stranger than legend.